Welcome to Rise to the Top, a college football betting podcast with your host and number one college football handicapper, Freddy Wills.
Hey guys, back here after another winning week, fifth one in a row. We'll get to all of it. We'll talk about our best pick, worst pick, bad beat of the week, recap the full week, misleading finals, and some other games, and look towards betting value for week number 8. Can't even believe we're already in week number 8. Before we get into it, here's a word from our sponsor. At the end of a hard week, it's great to sit down, take some time off, and watch some football. Game-winning touchdowns on 2-minute drives, running backs racing down the sidelines with no one to stop them. There's nothing else like the NFL, and there's no better way to make the games even more exciting than to bet on them. So do the smart thing and go to mybookie.ag. No one gives you more ways to win than they do. MyBookie's got the fastest payouts and better lines than any other sports book. Don't forget, where you're betting is just as important as you're betting on, and MyBookie.ag is the best in the business. It's where I play and where you should too. I wouldn't be telling you guys to bet with them if they weren't the best. Do the smart thing. If you're going to bet this football season, bet with MyBookie. If you're the kind of guy that likes to bet a little and win a lot, try a parlay. If all your picks come through, you'll multiply your winnings. And no matter how you bet, the NFL season is the best time of year. Join now. MyBookie will double your first deposit. Use promo code WILLS, W-I-L-L-S, to activate the offer. That's promo code WILLS to activate your offer. Visit mybookie.ag today. You play, you win, you get paid. All right, so last week between college and pro, 11-6 against the spread, plus 8.2% return on investment for a fifth winning week in a row. $100 unit bettors are up over $5,000 during that time, 53.67% return on investment. So, when I say a $100 unit, I'm talking about a $10,000 bankroll. So if your bankroll is $10,000, you would bet up to $550 a game, 5.5% being my max plays, which have hit over 60% in my career. So again, we're rolling it back this week. $99 package for my pro and college football, guaranteed profit or 2 weeks for free. Head on over to freddywills.com to check that out. I'll continue to roll it out there. A ton of you guys are taking advantage of it. And hey, we're just going to keep rolling out there. It keeps winning every week. So make sure you guys check that out. So last week, our best pick was Tennessee plus 7. I mentioned I thought that they could win the game outright, which, they dominated this game from start to finish. It was never in question. It was good to see. I don't know if I'm jumping to back Tennessee again in the future, but I thought it was just a really good spot against the Mississippi State team that was getting, overrated. The only thing that worried me was that they were Tennessee's biggest rivalry game is Alabama. And they go there this week as 34.5-point favorites. Personally, I think Tennessee will cover that game. I do lean Tennessee this week, but I definitely would want it over 35, which I think we'll see. And then for Mississippi State, they're going to host LSU this week, 17.5-point dogs. Good luck. LSU's got a bigger game on deck, but I'm probably passing. Some of these spreads are just outrageous, and I'm also afraid to take the dogs. So, especially when the favorite's on the road. I will say this about LSU: their offense isn't very good. They're lucky this week that they're not playing a good offense. Because I will talk about Florida in a minute here, because it was my bad beat of the week in my opinion. Tennessee, that game was my premium newsletter play. Now 4-2 on the season, over 60% for the career of that newsletter. So 4-2-1 on the season, plus 3.2% return on investment. And you combine that with my free picks, which have gone 4-4. You're definitely missing some free money. So make sure you check out that as well.
Subscribe to Freddy's Premium Sports Picks newsletter, free at freddywills.com.
Third year of this premium newsletter, 30% return on investment, 60% against the spread, 1 email, once per week. Subscribe at freddywills.com. All right, so we got a touch on the worst pick of the week. It's obviously Michigan State plus 10.5, who did not show up. I don't know if Wisconsin is just that good, but I don't think that they are personally. I think maybe they got Michigan State at the right time, coming off the Ohio State game. And look, there were red flags with Michigan State all season long. This offense is no better than it was previously. But traveling back-to-back weeks, I really don't think I should have given that out to clients. I still thought I thought it was going to be one of those games that D'Antoni got his team to play extremely hard, and it was going to be a one-possession game. That was not. I mean, they got shut out. They got their asses kicked. And I have to say that the offensive line sucks. The quarterback sucks. They need to move on from Lewerke. I don't even think the backup is good. We saw him a ton last year. He didn't really impress me. And they have no running back, and they have one receiver, Darrell Stewart, who's a senior, who has he has 3 routes he runs. So he's very easy to defend after the first quarter. Michigan State gets a bye here, much needed bye before hosting Penn State. And if Penn State wins again in big fashion, then Penn State goes back on the road. I can't. It's funny to say, but I'll be looking to take Michigan State because it will be a buy low situation. I still feel like they'll pull off one of those wins that they're not supposed to. And hey, Penn State's a 8.5-point favorite. If they win by double digits this week, and then they got to go on the road, that's a tough situation. At Iowa, home against Michigan, and then at Michigan State. Michigan State off a bye. That's a great spot for Michigan State, who will probably be underdogs in that game. Penn State's going to be beat up. That's 3 physical games. And Penn State didn't look great against Iowa. Iowa should have won that game. So, I might be looking to take Michigan State next week. Bad beat of the week. Last week we didn't have one of these, which was great. But this week, listen, we had 3 coin flip games with Iowa losing against the spread by 1.5 point. Syracuse, the same. And each of which they missed a makeable field goal that would have gotten us the cover. But the worst beat for me was Florida plus 13, who I felt played extremely well and led the game 28-21 in the fourth before getting outscored 21-0 to end the game. They turned it over twice in LSU territory in the red zone. Still, they had the ball on the 3-yard line, 1st and goal, before running 4 bizarre plays to end the game. I really thought that they should have brought in Emory Jones to give the threat of a run and then throw it maybe, but I still trust Dan Mullen moving forward. That last play on 4th and goal, where Trask does he's goes slow-mo. It looked really weird. If you missed it, you got to find it on YouTube. He optioned out. He was going to pitch it, but didn't. But everything was slow mo. He was. I don't know if it was him trying to fake it or what, but it just looked awful from the start. And then they had a running back throw at one play down there. I get trying to fool, but I don't know. It was just terrible play calling at the end there. I still do trust Dan Mullen, and I actually like them this week. Florida on the road this week, 6-point favorite at South Carolina, who huge upset over Georgia. Obviously we're going to ask, does Florida have anything left? I mean, they just had Auburn, then at LSU. That's going to be the question all week, but I think they'll be just fine. South Carolina lost their quarterback, and obviously off the huge upset. I think Florida is a definite teaser candidate at South Carolina, but need to look into the game more. I do like the offensive mind of Dan Mullen versus the defensive mind of Will Muschamp. Mullen is 2-0, winning last year 35-31 at home, and then in 2016 when he was with Mississippi State, winning 27-14 against South Carolina. And obviously South Carolina just lost Holinski, their quarterback, and now they're down to the everyone's saying backup, but it's actually the 3rd string. Holinski's played so well, everyone forgot about Jake Bentley. So that is, and I don't think this guy can throw. He's more of a running quarterback. So I think Florida can stop that. The bet I regret not making, there were 2 big ones, Navy and Temple. Temple won 30-28, and I would have played them had I not missed the move earlier in the week. So sometimes you wait. I like to see the injuries and get a full picture of the matchup. I don't worry too much about missing out on line moves, but there are certain situations where I'm not gonna chase the steam, or I'm gonna I'd rather play it the opposite way if I feel like I have an edge and I'm getting 2.5 points of value. Instead, when I kind of got a chance to look at the Temple game, the line had already moved from 6.5 to 4, even lower on game day. I loved Temple at 6 or higher, but after it moved and I lost, number value, I decided not to play it. And it didn't help that it felt like everyone was on Temple, which I also don't like. I don't get that great feeling when everyone's saying Temple, Temple, Temple this, Temple that. Temple, again, over a touchdown dog this week, this time on the road against SMU, who's off a bye. Look, Temple has not been good road team this year. Didn't cover at Buffalo, losing outright as a 15-point favorite, and lost against the spread against East Carolina on the road. This also is a further trip for them, the state of Texas, and they have Central Florida on deck. I'm going to pass. I don't like SMU either. Against the very good Temple defense, I'm not playing it. So let's jump into the misleading finals. Miami won, but did not look good doing it against Virginia on Friday night. I actually gave out Miami on the money line, and I really had to sweat that one out. The offensive line is still very bad for Miami. They won 17-9, but that final was a bit misleading. Virginia had 21 first downs to Miami's 14. They outgained them by 53 yards, but had one costly turnover and could not score a touchdown in the red zone. We're probably getting value with Virginia this week as a short favorite, 3.5 at home to Duke. But Duke, they just came off their win over Georgia Tech, and they're a very good team as a dog. They didn't look great against Pitt, but came back late. My slight lean to Duke, but I can see Virginia going back home and rebounding. Miami, Ohio. +2 first downs, +55 yards, but lost to Western Michigan 38-16 on the road. They had 3 turnovers and were 0 for 2 on fourth down. They threw a pick 6 and struggled in the red zone, kicking 3 field goals and 1 touchdown. They also missed a field goal. Miami now a 3-point dog at home to Northern Illinois, but I mean, honestly, I can't play it. They just have such high variance. They had a misleading win last week over Buffalo. This week they have a misleading loss. I'd rather just pass on that team. And Western Michigan, in my opinion, continues to get overrated in the market. They're an 8.5-point favorite this week to Eastern Michigan off back-to-back losses. No play for me because they are starting, 8.5 points. I mean, I could have seen this a little different a couple weeks ago, but the Western Michigan's not playing great by any means. So we mentioned this game already, but Georgia lost to South Carolina. They had a 30-16 first down edge, over 170 yards more on offense, but Georgia went 0 for 1 on fourth down. They had 4 turnovers, while South Carolina went 1 for 1 and had 0 turnovers. Would have won this game a couple times in overtime. I think there was a pass that Georgia threw. It got tipped and intercepted. The end of the game, Rodrigo Blankenship also missed a field goal in overtime that would have won the game. So let's just say it is what it is. South Carolina got lucky. South Carolina is now on their third-string quarterback after Helinski injured his knee, I believe, in this game. They host Florida this week, who looks like they got blown out against LSU. I think South Carolina is still not a very good team, and I think that there will be value backing Georgia this week, or value backing Georgia in the future. This week they're 25-point favorites against Kentucky, so I don't know if I can do it then. But this team still has everything left to play for. Listen, they went out, they beat Florida, they beat whoever they face in the SEC championship game, and they're in the college football playoff. Oklahoma beat Texas. Texas had more first downs, but they were really fortunate to cover. Texas was sacked 9 times in this game. That was really the difference in why there's such a huge difference in the yardage. Oklahoma outgained Texas by 201 yards. I think Texas just came out and played poorly. I think they were very lucky because Jalen Hurts turned the ball over in the red zone a couple times early. Otherwise, this game could have gotten out of hand early. Texas clearly did not have a healthy squad to stop Jalen Hurts, but I'm still not as high on this team with Hurts there. I still think he's got some limits. Like, I don't think he can put the team on his back. I mean, listen, they played no defensive teams Prior to that, I think I tweeted out their average opponent rankings on offense and defense.